In an era where NBA players chase the biggest paycheck and jump ship at the first opportunity, what drives a proven champion to sit and wait while his future hangs in limbo? The Golden State Warriors are experiencing one of the most peculiar standoffs in recent NBA history, and at the center of it all sits Gary Payton II, a player who embodies everything that's both beautiful and frustrating about modern professional basketball. While Jonathan Kuminga's contract negotiations drag on like a never-ending soap opera, Payton and several other veterans are playing the ultimate waiting game, betting their careers on loyalty and patience in a league that rewards neither. Let's start with the elephant in the room. Jonathan Kuminga's restricted free agency has become the domino that refuses to fall, keeping the entire Warriors organization frozen in basketball purgatory. This isn't just about one player's contract, it's about a franchise's entire future trajectory being held captive by negotiations that have stretched from July into late August with no resolution in sight. The Warriors have reportedly offered Kuminga a 2-year, $45 million deal, but the young forward appears to be holding out for something more substantial. Meanwhile, every day that passes without a signature is another day that valuable veterans like Payton remain in professional limbo, watching other opportunities potentially slip away while staying committed to an organization that can't even finalize its own roster. Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report has confirmed what many suspected. Payton and other veteran targets are maintaining full communication with the Warriors' front office, essentially agreeing to put their careers on hold until this mess gets sorted out. It's a level of loyalty that's both admirable and slightly insane in today's cutthroat NBA landscape. Gary Payton, too, represents a fascinating case study in modern NBA economics and loyalty. At 32 years old, he doesn't have the luxury of endless opportunities, yet he's choosing to wait for Golden State instead of securing guaranteed money elsewhere. This decision becomes even more intriguing when you consider his injury history and the limited time remaining in his career. Payton's 2024-25 season was actually a revelation in terms of health and production. After years of being hampered by various ailments, he appeared in 62 games, a significant improvement that showcased his true value to the Warriors system. His numbers tell the story of a player who maximizes every minute on the court: 6.5 points, 3.0 rebounds, and 0.8 steals in just 15 minutes per game. But the real magic happens when you extrapolate those numbers to per 36-minute production: 15.5 points, 7.2 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 2.1 offensive boards, and 2.0 steals, while shooting an efficient 57.4% from the field. These aren't just solid role player numbers. They represent elite-level impact from someone who could be the perfect complementary piece for a championship contender. What makes Payton's situation so compelling is his proven championship experience with this exact organization. He wasn't just along for the ride during the Warriors' 2022 title run, he was an essential contributor who delivered in the biggest moments. His 15-point, 3-steal performance in Game 5 of the NBA Finals wasn't just a statistical anomaly, it was a demonstration of his ability to rise to the occasion when championships are on the line. This is where the intangible value of continuity and chemistry becomes crucial. The Warriors aren't just trying to add talent. They're trying to maintain the cultural foundation that has led to multiple championships. Payton represents that culture in its purest form: defensive intensity, unselfish play, and an understanding of what it takes to win at the highest level. His brief departure to Portland in 2022-23 only reinforced his value to Golden State. Sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone, and Payton's return by the end of that season spoke volumes about both his desire to be in the Bay Area and the organization's recognition of his importance. Payton isn't the only veteran caught in this waiting game. According to Fisher, Al Horford is also expressing patience with the Warriors' timeline, despite being 40 years old and presumably having limited time to chase another championship. The fact that established veterans are willing to wait suggests they see something special brewing in Golden State, something worth the risk of waiting. The Warriors envision Horford playing a pretty major role in their rotation, likely as their starting center. Unlike the minimum salary veterans who are waiting in the wings, Horford would command a more substantial portion of the mid-level exception, potentially receiving a 2-year deal with a player option. This creates an interesting dynamic where the Warriors are essentially building 2 tiers of patient veterans. Those willing to accept minimum salaries for the chance to compete, Payton, D'Anthony Melton, Seth Curry, and those commanding more significant financial commitments, Horford. Both groups are betting that Golden State's championship window remains open and that their patience will be rewarded with meaningful roles on a contending team. The complexity of the Warriors' salary cap situation cannot be overstated. If Kuminga accepts their reported offer, Golden State would sit roughly $14.9 million below the second tax apron with room to maneuver. If he signs his qualifying offer instead, they'd have about $17 million in breathing room below the first apron, a significant difference that impacts every subsequent roster decision. Using any portion of the mid-level exception would hard cap the Warriors at the second tax apron, potentially creating a scenario where they couldn't match an offer sheet for Kuminga from a rival team. This is why patience isn't just a virtue in this situation. It's a necessity that could determine whether the Warriors can keep their young talent while adding veteran complementary pieces. Perhaps the most frustrating aspect of this entire saga is the timeline. Fisher warns that Kuminga's free agency could remain unresolved well into September, with the deadline to accept his qualifying offer not arriving until October 1st. For veterans like Payton, this means potentially sitting out the entire month of September, prime preparation time for the upcoming season, while hoping their gamble pays off. This extended timeline raises legitimate questions about the Warriors' decision-making process and their ability to manage multiple priorities simultaneously. Every day that passes without resolution is another day that chemistry building and system integration gets delayed. Gary Payton II's situation ultimately represents a fascinating test case for loyalty in modern professional basketball. In an era where players are constantly advised to maximize their earning potential and seek the best opportunities regardless of sentiment, Payton is choosing to bet on relationships and organizational culture over guaranteed money. His decision to wait reflects either tremendous faith in the Warriors' ability to resolve their issues and create a championship-caliber roster, or a miscalculation that could cost him significant opportunities elsewhere. Only time will tell which interpretation proves accurate. The Warriors' ability to attract and retain veterans like Payton and Horford despite the uncertainty speaks to their continued relevance as championship contenders. Stephen Curry remains elite. The addition of Jimmy Butler creates a legitimate Big Three, and the organizational culture continues to attract players who prioritize winning over individual statistics. However, championship windows are finite, and every day spent in bureaucratic limbo is a day that could have been spent building chemistry and preparing for the challenges ahead. The Warriors are walking a tightrope between maximizing their talent and managing their financial constraints, with veterans like Payton serving as willing participants in this high-stakes gamble. Gary Payton II's willingness to wait for the Warriors represents either the height of loyalty or a dangerous miscalculation in career management. His situation embodies the complex relationship between winning culture, financial realities, and personal sacrifice that defines championship-level basketball. Whether his patience will be rewarded remains to be seen, but his commitment to the organization that gave him his championship moment speaks to something deeper than mere financial considerations. In a league increasingly defined by mercenary attitudes and short-term thinking, Payton's approach feels both refreshing and risky. The resolution of this saga will determine not just Payton's immediate future, but also set a precedent for how the Warriors handle veteran loyalty and championship culture in an increasingly complex NBA landscape. What do you think about Payton's decision to wait it out? Is this loyalty at its finest, or is he making a mistake that could cost him his career? Drop your thoughts about whether patience pays off in today's NBA, and smash that like button if you think the Warriors need to get this Kuminga situation resolved before they lose all these quality veterans.